Have you been tossing and turning all night with nightmares of not being able to design the perfect gasket? Let's talk about how we can design a gasket to fit your needs. Making sure your gasket is perfect for your application is a must-have. In this video, we'll go over 3 tips for designing a gasket, as well as the most often overlooked aspect of gaskets. The 3 tips for designing a gasket are remembering your gasket's purpose, choosing a material that makes sense, and knowing your exact measurements and tolerances. The first tip for designing the perfect gasket is to understand your gasket's purpose. Everything else follows from defining the purpose, including material selection, measurements, tolerances. Whether it's intended for an enclosure against water ingress, or acid-resistant battery housing, knowing the gasket's purpose is essential for designing the final part. When selecting gasket material, consider factors such as hardness, open or closed cell foam, sterilization requirements, thickness, and whether the gasket will be a permanent fixture or frequently opened and closed. Material selection also affects the ability to hold certain tolerances, as well as manufacturing feasibility. It's necessary to specify measurements and tolerances because ultimately that's what we make our parts to. We're designing parts to make them in manufacturing processes, and it affects our ability to actually manufacture them. It also has a factor in cost. Tighter tolerances will tend to cost more than looser tolerances. Oftentimes, we see default title block tolerances that are not necessarily functional. Engineers should avoid using these because this could impact your cost significantly if they're actually not relevant to the project itself. Gasket designs can be optimized for manufacturability by considering things like the material, the tolerances, as well as the manufacturing process in order to make it more manufacturable and have less fallout in the long run. Your engineers should consider talking to the converter directly in order to make sure that the tolerances match the functionality of the part and that this is designed for manufacturability before the design is finalized. One of the most overlooked aspects of designing the perfect gasket is how it's going to be applied. For example, if you're applying it by hand, you'll want to consider things like tabs or extended liners that make it easier to remove the liner from the gasket and apply it to its final part. If it's going to be automated, you're going to want to consider things like the repeatability and accuracy of the placement of the part on the liner so that your process isn't having stoppages due to inaccurate measurements. Understanding cost in the design phase of gaskets is essential because manufacturing gaskets can be expensive. By discussing design options as well as the costs related to those, manufacturers can avoid being blindsided later by more expensive gaskets as a result to not having those discussions. Choosing a reputable and experienced converter is also essential in this discussion because an experienced converter will help you avoid mistakes that you will otherwise be unaware of. By optimizing your design process by working with a converter, you can design highly effective gaskets that also fit your application. If you have any more questions, feel free to visit our Learning Center or reach out to us directly. Thanks for watching.